Welcome to the premiere of Year 3 of the Doug Geiser Show, brought to you by the Ashland University Journalism and Digital Media Department. I'm Cade Krakus, joined alongside Doug Geiser. Coach, it's great to be in a new setting this year.
You know, this is tremendous. I'm waiting for our food, though.
Exactly.
I'm really hungry right now. So.
Yeah, that's the exciting thing. We can both talk about football, talk about everything that's going on with the Ashland University football program, but also, enjoy some good food while we're at it.
Absolutely.
So to start here, how does it feel to be back again with the Doug Geiser Show? Obviously, this is Year 3, and it's funny because it started off this show just a little side talk for us. It was something we're like, all right, we'll throw it around, maybe we'll do it. And then, fast forward 2 years to the studio, now we come out here. How does it feel to see the growth of the show?
Tremendous. I mean, anything to give Ashland football some recognition and some hype. And hey, if we can do it out in a place like BW3's here in Ashland, even better. Get them more business. So I'm excited. I'm excited about this year.
Exactly. And looking back over the course of the past couple of years, when you take a look at the program as a whole, and since you've taken over at the helm, how has the support grown over time for the program?
I don't know if it's necessarily grown. It's always been high. Ashland football is big in the community, it's big with the alums and big with recruits, and so just a matter of continuing that excellence, I think. And our fans, we love the support of our fans and our Gridiron Club and our alums, and they've been very, very accepting of me, just like they were Coach Owens and Coach Keller and Coach Martinelli going back through the years. So it's nice to be a part of something like that at a program like this.
For sure. And before we dive into kind of the nitty-gritty of the football team and all the fun storylines that we have from this past offseason, I want to hear a highlight, though, a fun highlight from your summer that you had before we get into the more serious conversations.
Well, those who know me know I am not necessarily a closet pro wrestling fan, but I'm a pro wrestling fan. I guess I'm out of the closet in that respect as a pro wrestling fan. I had the opportunity not once, but twice to meet benchmark pro wrestling champion Gideon Hayes and watch him wrestle in person. Got a couple pictures taken with him too. So I was very honored to be in his presence, and that was kind of a fun highlight this summer.
100%. And outside of that, though, before we move into the rest of the conversation, what's been the summer like outside of that for you? What have you been doing all summer? What's been the preparation like since the last time we talked? Because I think I looked back, the last time we had a conversation with the Doug Geiser Show was our finale of Year 2, and that came back on April 16th. So it's been quite a while since the audience last heard from you.
Well, for us, it's preparation for the season. You wrap up the spring, you look at what we had a chance to rep, and you evaluate it. There's some new things. There were some things we've done. Does it fit this year's team? Does the package on both sides of the ball and on special teams, does it fit this year's team, number one? Number two, we got out in every single high school in the state of Ohio in May. For May recruiting, looking at the class of 2026, our coaches did a great job with that. I had a chance to go out and be at some showcases as well to see the class of 2026. And then also I had a chance to this summer, you get a chance to start looking ahead to IUP and Indianapolis and Hillsdale, our first 3 games, breaking down tape in a little bit more of a slower setting at that point. There's not as much a sense of urgency as it would be during the season. So at a little slower pace, it's kind of nice to do those things and nice to kind of catch up with family as well.
For sure, and we've got a lot to talk about, especially with what happened in the summer, the training camp update as well, where we're looking at position battles, everything of that sorts. We'll talk about that coming back here in a few moments. As a reminder, don't go anywhere. We've got the rest of the premiere of Year 3 of the Doug Geiser Show coming your way here soon, right here on the Eagle Network.
To the Great Midwest Athletic Conference, where greatness is achieved from heart-stopping moments to incredible teamwork and unyielding determination. This is more than a conference. It's a community of excellence where academic success meets athletic prowess and future leaders are forged. The Great Midwest Athletic Conference. Building character through competition.
Welcome back to the Doug Geiser Show right here on the Eagle Network. I'm Cade Crackister alongside Coach Geiser and now Coach Cordell. Thanks, guys, for joining me. First off, obviously it's great to be back here inside of Buffalo Wild Wings here in Ashland, Ohio. Coach Cordell, how was your off season? What were you up to?
We try to grind pretty hard in the summer, go to camps, a bunch of camps, evaluate a bunch of guys. It's one thing to watch film, but you get to see them in person in camps, competing. We have to cover a lot of high schools, a lot of areas, a lot of individual guys. Obviously to find the guys that can help us win championships here. So you spend a lot of time at summer camps and then get ready for the season.
Yeah, and how'd you two work together this summer? What was the deal with you two? You guys collaborate an awful lot this summer?
Well, usually what I try to give the coaches off at least a month. So we go from the last week in June to the last week in July. If coaches want to take vacations, go ahead. They don't need to be in the office. Just the whole gist is make sure you have their stuff done that needs to be done by the beginning of August. And so it gives them a little bit of freedom, time to get away with family and that sort of things too. So we see each other a little bit, I guess, during the summer, but not every day. Not every day.
And so when you look at this year, obviously, too, when did things start ramping up? When were you both in the office an awful lot?
We would have come back the last week in July and started with coaches' meetings there at that point, evaluating anything this spring. We talked about plans for training camp and if we need to adjust those at all. And also we talk recruiting too. Because the one thing we'll try to do is we'll try to get recruits on campus in July as well. So.
And Coach Cordell, when it comes to kind of your role throughout the summer, what were you really up to as well? Same kind of thing that what Coach Geiser was saying?
Yeah, there's a lot of paperwork. It's NCAA, it's college football, so there's a lot of business office work, you would call it, with our roster and NCAA clearinghouse and applications and financial aid offices, situations, and there's a lot of things outside of football that I get to work on in the summer. So
for sure.
Yeah.
And now for each of you, I'm going to ask this to both of you guys. So maybe a couple guys for you and a couple guys for you, Cordell. Is there guys that have stood out throughout the summer and training camp so far?
I think so too. I mean, I'd probably go first to the returners and guys. It's going into their senior season or their fourth season, and guys like Ethan Enders, who will be on the show later today. Guys like Mike Shimmick on the defensive side, Nick Walker. Let's see, Ben Holzapfel, we talked about Jack Talkington as well.
Yeah.
Guys like that have been there. It's neat to see them take their game to another level with another off-season preparation. And then the young guys, some guys might catch your eye, but really until they do it on a game, they haven't proved anything to me yet.
For sure. Coach Cordell?
Yeah, obviously, NFL scouts are coming in, looking at Nick Walker, and Ethan Enders is our fifth-year senior leader in the middle. There are some guys that there's one guy I want to give a shout out to that I've given a hard time to the last couple of years. Russell Twining has really stepped up and is going to play a lot for us and help us on defense. And very, very proud of what he's done.
Yeah, and when you guys talk about locker room leaders, that's something as well that's pretty big. You have guys who succeed on the field and who are really, really good on the field, but there's also sometimes those unsung heroes in the locker room who stand out and do just as much, if not more, in terms of making the team better. For you guys, who stood out in that realm?
I think if you look in Jim's room, you got some guys that have played a lot of football for us, but might not always get the recognition. Guys like Hunter Kaleo, guys like Jacob McCabe. All they show up every single day and work hard. Both those guys know all five positions up front.
Yeah.
So they're a source of steadiness. They're durable. You can always count on them. And a lot of times they might not get the recognition that some others might, but they are definitely a very, very valuable part of the team.
And Coach Cordell?
Yeah, I see guys at every level on defense, in every room on offense. There's at least one guy that has kind of rallied and been the leader of that group. I'd like to, talk about Cam Blair and what he's done with the whole offense. So, he really led the summer program this offseason really well. And, guys are willing and eager to learn from him and follow him.
Yeah, and when you look at kind of the training camp and off-season as well, one of the big things is pushing these players to get to that point of success and get to that point of being a leader. But there's also that level of making sure that they're not pushing themselves too much to where they get injured or they burn themselves out. How do you guys balance that?
Well, I try to keep an eye on it throughout practice. I talked to Corey Mason, our strength coach. I talked to our trainer, Savannah Line, and Lydia Barona, and just kind of get their perspective on things as well, and just seeing the tempo of practice more than anything else. And it's kind of a fine line you walk because you need to grind.
Yeah.
Especially when training camp this year was 10 days. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of work that needs to get done, and the third week of training camp for us is actually the first week of class, but it's different. So it's something I'm definitely aware of, especially early in camp. We had that big strain of heat and humidity.
Yeah. And
you don't want to be soft, but you also want to be smart. So kind of really balancing that line. It's even depend on Jim at times too, and Tim Rose and Tom Stacy, the guys that are experienced on our staff, just to make sure that I'm doing right by the players as well.
Yeah, and Coach Cordell, you're someone who's played that next level. Going through all the different levels all the way up to the professional league. You've been through the grind and been through so many situations where you've had to push yourself. How do you then relay what you were able to do at that level down to the guys who are currently playing Ashland?
The old back in my day kind of line, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I told them, hey, you can do anything for 2 weeks. We have 2 weeks of training camp. We're not allowed to have 2 days anymore, and so give maximum effort, right, in practice. You're going to have a certain amount of time, and I think guys did, because you can see. You can see the sweat loss in practice, and you can see some weight fluctuations and things like that, and proof that they definitely put in the work. But no, we have to maximize those 10 days. We have to keep getting stronger. As Coach Geiser loves to stress, guys getting stronger in the weight room every lift opportunity that comes up in a preseason camp, in a season. So yeah, we have to push, and sometimes I like to give them a hard time and let them know that you guys have it easy.
100%. And as my final question for you both here is, as we get ready for the year to be just around the bend, what position battle should everyone in Eagle Nation get their eye on to be excited for the coming season?
Well, the big one, we always talk about the quarterback position. We haven't named a quarterback at this point, and up to this point, Drew Novak and Cam Blair have been nip and tuck all the way through and fighting all the way since the end of last season. So that'll be a big key for us right there. And you look at there. Also on the defensive back position, we had some graduation at the safety position, also at corner. So we have some new faces there incorporated. Who's going to come out of that mix? Guys have been competing. Guys that we've added like DJ Butler and Izzy Vasquez, but also newcomers like a Nick Sailors and a Malik Kamara and a Chaz Cole. Holdovers like Riley Weiss and Isaac Brooks and Jawan Jackson. So those two positions are probably the biggest ones right now as you look at our team. But it's been exciting all the way through. There's been a lot of competition all the way through.
Yeah, and Coach Cordell, are there any others that you've kept your eye on as well that have really made a big impact going into this year?
Yeah, I do think the DBs stand out. I've got all 5 returners on starters on the O-line.
Yeah.
We've got guys tight end fullback room that you could call kind of co-starters, and we have receivers that are competing, but that defensive backfield is pretty deep, competitive.
Well, to both of you, I appreciate it. We'll take a break here in just a few moments, bring the players on, get some insight from them, and we'll catch you both back on here soon.
Sounds good. Time to eat.
All right, we'll get some food in us here as the foods come out now here at Buffalo Wild Wings in Ashland. We'll take a break, join you back here soon. Don't go anywhere, right here on the premiere of Year 3 of the Doug Geiser Show. Welcome back to year 3 of the Doug Geiser Show, brought to you by the Ashland University Journalism and Digital Media Department. I'm Cade Krakus, now joined alongside Ethan Enders and Ben Holzapfel. Both of you, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's great to have you guys on here. So heading into week 1, you guys got IUP on the road. It's a team you guys have faced for a couple seasons now. When you look at that, what are 2 to 3 of the biggest keys for you guys to pull off a win week 1?
Yeah, obviously, being in the O-line room, I think a lot of the key is to win up front. You know, win in the trenches is the name of the game in football. So if we can handle our business up front, you know, they've got a powerful D-line. Guys, we've played for, it'll be year 4 now.
100%.
If we can handle our business there, that'll be a good first step in getting home with a win.
Yeah, and Ben, too, last year you led the team in tackles with 71 on the season. You know, you're going to be off to the races early in that game against IUP. What's the key to success on your guys' end?
I would say for the defensive side, focused on anything new they're going to throw at us. They got a new OC that came in from, I think he was the head OC of University of Pittsburgh either a year or 2 ago. So we were watching film on what he used to run there, bringing anything new that we're watching anything new he possibly could run. But they're obviously going to probably stick to the stuff that they've always been good at throughout their history. And I would say they had to transfer the quarterback from Findlay last year.
Yeah.
Folks got to focus on him. He just transferred there to IUP, so he knows how we play. But I'd say we also know how he plays too. So
yeah. And Ethan, this one's for you. Obviously, you guys have faced him for many years now, and you've been a part of all those battles. Week 1 and the playoffs, everything along the way. What's that rivalry really started to form into with IUP?
Yeah, you know, I think you look at it, it's 2 great programs going head to head. And obviously they've come away with the win multiple times the last time we've played. They have a great program, great coaches, great players, obviously. So it's turned into quite a good rivalry that hopefully we can finally come away with the win this year.
Yeah, and Ben, what are your expectations for the team this year? Because a big thing is Jack Tockett will be back in there. You guys have got a pretty loaded linebacker room. What's the expectations?
Expectations this year is to stay like Coach Rose always tells us, always come every day like you want to arrive. Like he says, don't think that just because you're here, just to stay put. Always keep pushing to get better. Always show always arrive. As I would explain that better, but just never stay the same. Always want to keep improving, keep getting better, and just never just stay put.
Yeah. And that's the thing about Coach Rose. You know, you have a guy who's been here for so long. He knows the game inside and out. And for both of you guys, setting goals is a big thing as well. You know, take a look at short-term goals. Coach Geiser always says, go 1-0 every week. You know, that's the goal. Go 1-0 every week. Have you guys thought about any long-term goals for the season?
No, I think Coach Geiser would kill us if we look at the long term. Right?
That's what I was thinking.
Right, it's always you start looking ahead and you lose track of where you're at for this week, and this week is the most important week in college football for us.
And for each of you now, you know, if you could describe the team's identity this year in one phrase, what would it be?
Driven. We're taking look from the winter cycle to the spring, summer session. Guys are getting after it and trying to get better.
Yeah, and Ben?
I would say hungry. I would say hungry because not only do we want to beat IUP to get that first one of the season, I think we're hungry to beat IUP.
Yeah.
Because in our history we've never beaten them before. So I say we're hungry to beat them, and I'd say we're hungry to prove that we're up to the challenge of being on the road a majority of the first half of the season. So we're hungry to come out of that stretch or that half of the season on top or with a good record.
Yeah. And you guys have a pretty strong gauntlet to start the year this year. And for you guys, what's the pace going to be like for you guys as student athletes to not only get adapted back to academically, but as well with these tough teams you guys are going to face? You guys are going to be in the weight rooms a lot, the film sessions. How are you guys going to balance that?
Yeah, it's a hard balance, but it's what you sign up for as a student athlete. You know, you are here to get a degree. You need to get that, but there's also plenty of time that you need to spend on football, both on the field and off the field, in the training room, in the film room, making sure that you're prepped and putting your best foot forward.
And Ben?
Yeah, being organized. Obviously, the new guys, they'll learn eventually about time management's the key, especially. I mean, football takes up a majority of your schedule too, just as much as school does, but you always want to stay on top of school because if you don't stay on top of school, you can't become eligible, then you can't play what you're here for. And also too is play football, but also here to get a degree as well.
Of course. And my last question for you guys, what's your final thing? What's your final message to Eagle Nation? You know, what's this year going to be about? What's the ride that they should be expected to kind of join you guys on?
Yeah, hopefully we're going to put together a great ride. You know, there's been a lot of work, a lot of hours in the dark that no one sees that we've been putting in, and hopefully we're going to have a great season this year.
I mean, for them to be excited. Yeah, stay excited for this season. I mean, hopefully they tag along with us on the road, give us all the support they need, and yeah, I mean, I think they're for one heck of a ride. I think we got a lot.
100%. You guys got a lot of away games coming up this year as well. You guys take a look at the schedule. IUP week 1, Indianapolis week 2. Both those are away, followed by a home game against Hillsdale. And guess what? You guys are back on the road for 2 more. So for 4 of the first 5 games of the year on the road. And as they both said, you got to tag along for the entire ride because the Eagles are ready to get going here in the next couple of weeks and ready to stay hungry, as you both said, and driven. So I appreciate you both for joining me on the show here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Well, we'll step aside here, join you back here soon. Coming up next, it's our Q&A segment. Make sure not to go anywhere as Coach Geiser fields some questions from those in attendance alongside those online. So we'll be back in just a few moments here on the premiere of Year 3 of the Doug Geiser Show.
Welcome to the Great Midwest Athletic Conference, where greatness is achieved from heart-stopping moments to incredible teamwork and unyielding determination. This is more than a conference. It's a community of excellence where academic success meets athletic prowess and future leaders are forged. The Great Midwest Athletic Conference. Building character through competition.
Welcome back to Year 3 of the Doug Geiser Show. I'm Cade Krakus, now joined back alongside Coach Geiser, and it's exciting to finally bring this segment to life. It's the question and answer segment. Those in attendance can ask questions, those online can, and those who might want to submit questions beforehand can do so as well. Well, the first question I got for you here, Coach, I'm going to ask this one before we dive into everyone else's. Okay. What's your favorite food here on this platter? We got wings, we got onion rings, cheese curds, pretzel bites. I mean, this is a good platter.
I would say pretzel bites.
That's what I was
thinking. I like
thinking.
the pretzel bites, and I actually went a little off center a little bit. Went pretzel bites with blue cheese dressing.
Interesting. Okay, that's an odd combination. I'm gonna try a cheese curd here with whatever this sauce is.
That is actually B-dub sauce.
Oh, B-dub sauce.
That's B-dub special sauce.
I'll let you know how it is as you give an answer to this first question we got here.
Well, if you remember right, we actually got the secret of what's in that sauce too.
What is the secret of it?
We can't say it on there.
Oh, okay. Can't say the secret sauce.
The waitress gave it to us and swore us to silence.
Okay. So we can't answer that, but you know what we can talk about. Those are the questions that we've got before we field some here in person. But the first question is coming online. Why aren't there any home night games this year?
That's a good question. I would say probably part of that is head coach's preference, and I don't have all the say on this. I usually talk it over with Al King. He's got the final say on everything with that. For me, I'm just kind of partial. I think college football is afternoon. It's noon or it's 1 on Saturdays, and then there's a part of me as a former assistant. There's a lot of stuff to get done after the game as far as grading the game, breaking it down. And so if you can maximize the hours before the players come in the next day, it makes it a lot more assistant coach friendly at that point.
100%.
Yep.
The other question we have online is about one of your players, one of the players that's going into their sophomore season. What's the update on Isaiah Ramsey? You know, it's from a Shelby local, so they saw him with the Whippets and what he was able to do there. And they're just curious on how he's progressing.
Isaiah had a tremendous offseason. He actually had a chance to train the whole year you know, being a three-sport guy at Shelby, never had a chance to train in the off-season very much. He's always playing another sport. So Isaiah's gained about probably 10 to 12 pounds.
Wow.
His power output's gone up. He's faster, he's bigger, he's stronger, and he's been in training camp competing to have a major role for us this fall.
Good to hear. Anyone in the audience have any questions? If so, come up to the mic in the middle. We got a question in the back. Introduce yourself and then ask the question.
Hi, I'm Josh Dorado. I'm a sophomore here at Ashland, and I was just wondering, Coach Geiser, like, what would you like to see more from the students of Ashland at the college football games?
You know what we love? We love our student support. It's always been tremendous through the years. As many as we can get there, especially for that first home game against Hillsdale, which it's a rivalry game. We play for the traveling trophy. We feel the energy of the students. And so the more we have there and the more they're vocal and energized against our opponents, we'll feed off that, and you'll see the performance increase even greater.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yep.
And Coach, you know, I'm going to ask about that as well. When it comes to the students and those on campus that you might not be able to turn around and see every time because you're coaching, is there any specific year, because you've been here so long, that you've noticed that there's been a big student population at games and where the fans have really kind of come along with you the whole season?
I think it's been tremendous every year, and that's not meant to evade the question.
Yeah.
I would probably say the very first year that we played at Jack Miller Stadium.
Okay.
You know,
And what year was that?
That would have been 2009.
Okay.
2009 is when the stadium opened. 2010 is when the Troop Center opened. And I can just remember as people were streaming into the stadium on game day, it was like, yeah, this is college football. Seeing people able to go from Convo or from their dorm and get a chance to walk across the street and file in. You see them tailgating as well as you're coming into the Troop Center. The atmosphere is tremendous.
100%.
And I was never at Redwood Stadium. I'd have to defer. I'm not sure if Coach Graham would have played at Redwood Stadium or not. Did you play at Redwood Stadium? Okay, you were at Community. Okay, so he's at Community. Never been at Redwood, been at Community. The atmosphere at Community Stadium was tremendous our first couple of years before we got into the Jack Miller Stadium. But I would probably defer to that very first home game. That very first home game, I believe, was against Michigan Tech. And I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about the atmosphere at that point.
That's awesome.
But and it's kind of grown from there. And you know, it's, you know, the 12th man is a cliche, but it's definitely real and alive at Jack Miller Stadium.
Good to hear. Any other questions from those in the audience? We got one.
Hey, Coach. I'm Louis Demira, and I'm sure you've heard this question about 1,000 times now. You kind of hinted at it earlier. Can we get a starting quarterback named live on the show?
We will name the starting quarterback when we have to name the starting quarterback.
There you go. Now, I do have another...
we have our second scrimmage coming up Thursday night, so you might get a preview of it at that point. Both guys are still feverishly competing for it. We'll probably have a pretty good idea after we grade that scrimmage, kind of which direction we go. And we have to give our depth charts to IUP early next week, so it'll be on there as well. But I will not do it tonight.
Sounds good. I do have one more question for you.
Yeah.
We've been talking football for about half hour now or so kind of want to step away from that. Some would say you have an iconic haircut here. Is there any barbers you would like to shout out or give any secrets about your hairstyle?
I didn't hear it.
Yeah, he talked about your iconic haircut. He said, is there any barbers you'd like to shout out?
I do want to
You know
compliment
what?
it. It's very nice.
Actually two. Okay. Initially,
barbers?
I get it cut in town, and it used to be at Gephardt's. Okay. I don't think either he's no longer in existence. You know, he's gotten up there in age. I think he's retired.
Okay.
So now Sheila and Company hair designers. You know, right next to Dunkin' Donuts. She does a great job with my hair, and shout out to Sheila.
That she does. Well, thank you, Coach, and
Yep.
good luck this season.
And out of curiosity, how often do you have to get a haircut?
I usually go every 4 or 5 weeks.
Okay.
So I'm coming up on 4 weeks right now. It'll probably be cut before next week's the game.
I love it. There you go. Well, back to some more some football topics after talking about your hair for a bit there.
I didn't realize my hair was iconic.
It is pretty iconic.
Wow, okay.
Someone actually once referred to me when I went bald last fall. Someone referred to me as having the Doug Geiser haircut when it grew back. So it actually is pretty iconic.
Okay.
So the transfer portal and NIL, those are hot topics in college football. How do those impact programs, especially at the Division II level?
It's kind of scary, but it's also kind of exciting, and all at once. I mean, we'll think about them. They're both related but take one at a time. The first thing I talk about is NIL, and I think it's good that players get reimbursed for their name, image, and likeness, and be able to make money off of their name and their image. I think before we always had to be careful whenever we involve players, even on just promotions around town, even on something as simple as a schedule card. We had to be careful on how we recognize them on there, or else you get in trouble with the NCAA. Now you can reimburse them for it. So, if players can make money off of their name, off their image, I mean, by all means, let them do it.
Yeah.
By all means, let them do it. And especially if you look at it, I mean, I think the most pure way of doing it is you're not just paying them to pay them; they have to give something in return for it. And I think that's what it was intended for. It's just not just out there just paying players to pay players. They're doing something to earn that money, and I think that's the intent, and I'm all in favor of that.
For sure. Any other questions from those in the audience? Anyone got any? Oh, got one in the back there.
Yeah, hi, Coach. I'm Frank Kaufman from Avon Lake, and I'm just wondering if you could talk a little bit about on a game day interaction with your offense and defensive coordinators, how little situations and certain plays and things like that.
Good question. Well, as you probably know if you've seen us play, our defensive coordinator does not wear a headset. He's going into his 62nd year of coaching, has never worn a headset ever. And he said there's too much talking going on, and it scrambles his brains as far as when he's trying to call the game. So he'll get some input from guys next to him. As far as with me, I usually let him go and do his deal when he's up. Maybe between series we're talking a little bit. At halftime, obviously, we're talking a little bit. I'm on the phones, and I can be on the offense, defense, or special teams. I am on the phone with Coach Stacy and also with Coach Cordell and Coach Nikolai, Coach Turnbull as well offensively. Usually not giving input unless I think I need to. I kind of let them try to do their job if at all possible. But there's definitely interaction there. Believe it or not, though, most of the interaction takes place during the week. Out of the public eye, and that's usually when a lot of the hard decisions are made. Now, obviously, you got to adjust during a game as well, but a lot of those discussions will happen prior to those games.
You mentioned your defensive coordinator, Tim Rose. I have to tell you, I played for Coach Rose's first head coaching job back in Lorain, Ohio in 1969.
Oh, my word.
It was a year there, and I played tailback for him and everything. But I've come down and seen several games, but I know his personality pretty well. And I look at the players, and I wonder if he scares the hell out of you like he did us. I don't know. He was quite a guy when he used to coach back then. He told me one time he was much more mellow now than he used to be. I said, I don't believe that for a second. So anyways, good luck to you this season. I appreciate it.
Well, I think if you know Tim also, I mean, he's probably the most energetic guy on staff even now. Into his 62nd year of coaching, and just his passion, his professionalism, his enthusiasm, his expertise. I mean, Ashland football has been greatly, greatly appreciative of what Tim Rose has given us. And it's been a tremendous, tremendous marrying. And believe it or not, I think now Ashland is the place he's been at longest in his career. Wow. We beat Miami a couple of years ago, during that. And it's been a blessing to have Tim Rose on staff.
Any other questions from those in the audience? Another one?
Hey, Coach, Bryce Gatton. I'm a sophomore here at AU. I got to know, just kind of off of football a little bit. Obviously, you love coaching football, but if you had to coach another sport, is there a specific sport you'd like to coach?
That's a good question.
You know what? I have coached track before. I have coached basketball before. Basically, growing up, I was a sports nut. Whatever was in season, that's what I loved. So I could see myself coaching even wrestling. I could see myself doing that. I could see myself coaching baseball, basketball, any of those. We get a chance to work with motivated young men that are driven by something, driven by a purpose and a goal. Who's better than me when you do that? It's just it keeps you young. It keeps you young. It keeps you energized. And so if you had to pin me down, though, I would probably say basketball.
It's a good one. And Coach, speaking of basketball, do you have any favorite teams on the basketball side of things? Do you follow either college basketball or NBA?
I'll follow it in the playoffs.
Okay.
As far as a favorite team, I grew up a Cavs fan.
Okay, good.
So if I'm going to date myself a little bit, back in the era of Campy Russell and Bingo Smith, Elmore Smith, Foots Walker,
okay,
Dick Snyder, I mean, tremendous teams in the old Richfield Coliseum. So you youngsters probably don't even know where Richfield Coliseum was. Okay, it's now just a grass field. But But you go back, then you progress to the Brad Doherty, Mark Price, Hot Rod Williams, that era right there, and couldn't quite get past Michael Jordan. Now, more than anything, probably with teams like that, even college or pro, I'm a fan of organizations or fans of friends or coaches. So like, for example, NFL-wise, I grew up a Browns fan. I'm not anymore, okay? But I am a Packers fan because I'm at LaFleur.
Okay.
Through Matt, I've had a chance to meet Kyle Shanahan. I'm a Niners fan as well.
Okay.
Good friend of mine, Bobby Johnson, is the O-line coach with the Washington Commanders. So I'm a Commanders fan as well.
sounds like a lot of teams.
Well, Jeff Castle is with the Buccaneers. So I mean, you're a fan of those teams. I'm a fan of the Wisconsin Badgers because of Luke Fickell.
Okay.
And Greg Gillum are up there. So I'm a fan of those people, friends in the business. Friends in the business, or people I really admire how they go about their business.
Yeah, and back to AU football for a second here. A question from 88.9 WRDL, one of our stations that covers Ashland football. Their question was: is there an advantage to having a game on Thursday night to start a year?
Absolutely, without a doubt. And from a previous question, they're asking about a night game. I can guarantee we'll have a night game next year.
Yeah,
we'll open with IUP on a Thursday next year. So that's the advantage for us. It's a couple extra days of preparation for week 2. So you have enough time in preparation training camp for that first game, but now if you can get another 2 or 3 days before the second week opponent as well, bonus. Yeah. That's a bonus. So that's the hidden advantage there, and I would always try to open on a Thursday if at all possible.
Any other questions from those in the audience? Any other questions? If not, we'll move on to the next and final question here in our Q&A segment. Division II, sometimes it doesn't get that spotlight it deserves. There's some highly competitive games, and we've seen those in years past with Ashland. And one that pops into my mind is the walk-off Hail Mary against Grand Valley from a couple years back. But you talk about Division II overall. What makes this level of football so special in your eyes?
I think it's more of pure college football, and here's what I mean. From having coached at Division I level, a lot of times guys are on full rides. Now at this point you can break them up since the rules have changed in Division I, but back when I was in the back in the day, not that I'm old, but back in the day, when guys are on full rides, there's sometimes entitlement. And they don't really have a stake in their education. They take for granted the education part, which is a shame. In Division II, there's nobody on our team on a full ride athletically.
Yeah.
Most of the guys on the team are contributing something to their education. So if you're going to skip that class, you're actually costing yourself money.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense. So, you have guys that are playing more for the love of the game, and we'll have guys go to the pros. We do. Every single year we got guys being looked at and, playing at the next level. But, they know right from recruiting, we are preaching, you come here to get your degree, number one, first, second, and third. And along the way, hopefully you're going to play a high level of football, get a chance to play in some high leverage games, go to the playoffs, and hopefully you'll make your mark nationally. And also give back in the community. So we try to keep those priorities, and I think at Division II you can do that. I think you can do that. And keeping that nice little balance of an investment from the players in their life, in their education, in their career, but also get a chance to play scholarship football.
Yeah.
And from having played formerly in the GLIAC and now in the GMAC, I mean, I've coached against the Matt Judons and the Dan Scudas. I mean, I've coached against all those guys. And guys that played in the NFL for many, many, many years. Jake Visser was another guy. And, many players from Ferris who are still in the league.
Yeah.
Okay, so, it's a very high level of football. And in a lot of respects, I see D2 football now, especially high level, is almost like coaching in the MAC a handful of years ago.
Yeah.
It's very much a developmental level of football. And, we'll have some guys on the team that now we're getting looked at that, 4 or 5 years ago, it's like, how did you know to recruit them? But if you recruit them and look at how they're driven, not only their ability, what their potential is, but you look at this and you look at this, their head and their heart. That's how you start to see those things. It needs to be a part of that process of development like that.
100%. Well, fortunately, a lot of those sentiments that you just shared are passed down to your players, as we talked earlier, to Ben Ozoffel and Ethan Enders, and both of them said a lot of those similar things that you did. So it's not just coming from you, it's coming from the players as well, and that's something that kind of makes Ashland's culture so special, is that it's shared across the entire board. Well, Coach, thanks for this Q&A segment. We'll take a break. We'll join you all back here soon, and our next one will be joined back again by Coach Cordell, and we'll talk Week 1 versus IUP. So we'll join you back here soon. Thanks so much for tuning in right here in Year 3 of the Doug Geiser Show.
1, 2, 3, 4. What's up, GMAC fans? I'm Katie Gahuli, host of the Talkin' GMAC podcast. We hope you'll join us each week for all things GMAC, from interviews with current and former student athletes to headlines and highlights from around the league. Find the Talkin' GMAC podcast on the Great Midwest Digital Network or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to the Doug Geiser Show, year 3 here at the Buffalo Wild Wings in Ashland. I'm Cade Krakenster alongside Doug Geiser and Tim McCordle, coaches here on the Ashland University staff. And both of you guys hold such a high title, associate head coach and head coach. When you talk about, your guys' ability to work together, we talked about it earlier, but you guys got to put your heads together and prepare for week 1 against IUP. What's that process been like so far?
We have our second scrimmage at camp coming up. Now we are in game prep mode already. We do have a pretty good start on IUP, but Thursday night we have a scrimmage and guys can still make a difference on the travel squad or not. And we've played these guys the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And coach played them the year before that. So there's when we were talking a little IUP with my guys, I mean, it's like, hey, we know these guys more than we know anybody that we play.
Yeah.
Because they're week 1. You spend so much time prepping. So yeah, we are definitely familiar with IUP.
And Coach Geiser, what makes this such a challenge to open the season on the road, and especially against IUP like we've talked about?
Well, first and foremost, IUP is one of the best teams in the country, traditionally, and also this year coming back. Starts right at the top, Paul Tortorello and his staff. He added Frank Signetti Jr. back on staff as the OC, who's very well accomplished. Has been in the NFL for 13 years. And also defensively, Paul's a defensive coach, but has a tremendous defensive coordinator as well. They play a good scheme. They don't beat themselves. They're fundamentally sound. They play the game the right way, which is blocking and tackling. There's a physical component to it. In order to beat that football team, you have to beat them physically.
Yeah.
And they do a great job of minimizing their mistakes. They play tremendously at home, so that's a big challenge for us right out of the chute.
Yeah, and Coach Cordell, how important is it to set that tone early in the year, especially coming out with a win?
It's very important. Now, it's not. We can still win a GMAC, like we did last year, but we've now, lost, and there's that desire and hunger certainly to beat IUP.
100%.
Just because, hey, they've beaten us. But it is important to start fast and start the season on the right note. So I think this year it's a little bit more, hey, yeah, let's beat IUP because we haven't done that.
Yeah, and when scouting IUP and looking at what their team has, I'll ask one of you guys for the offensive side and one of the defensive side, what stands out to you guys if you guys want to fight over who gets to talk about which side of the ball?
Well, I guess I can talk about defense. From our defensive perspective. As we talked about, there's a little bit of an unknown going into the season. Mm-hmm. With the new offensive coordinator, even though similar philosophies from where he's been before, there's going to be some nuances there that we're going to have to adjust to during the game. So we prepare the best we can, but then it's knees bent, head on a swivel, and be able to adjust in game. So in-game adjustments are going to be very, very key. One thing we do know, though, is their quarterback, Matthew Reevy, was the quarterback at Findlay last year.
Yeah.
Tremendous player, one of the best players in the GMAC last year. And so we know just that alone is going to be a tremendous challenge playing against him. And then they're always big on the offensive line. They like to run the football. They like to control the clock. They're going to take some shots with play action, and so that's the biggest thing. They don't turn the ball over. So our defense has a big challenge. There we're going to have to win key down situations. Okay, which means third downs, you got to get off the field. In the red zone, you either keep them from touchdowns and keep to field goals, or you stop them there as well. So those really key down situations are going to be really, really key for us going into the game.
And Coach Cordell?
Yeah, they always have on both sides of the ball, offensive, defensive line, big, strong, tough, physical, downhill backers attacking. They are going to try to run the football, stop the run. So they're going to be very well coached, play very, very hard, and probably be, if not the top, one of the top defensive fronts that will play just as far as size and strength and ability to make plays and give us a challenge.
And I think probably one of the unsung portions of their defense, probably one of the keys to their defense, are two safeties. Their two high safeties do a great job. They funnel everything to them, and they are always tremendous players. They show up in the run game. They're physical in the pass game, and they almost play a philosophy defensively of, hey, we're going to force you to play one more play. We're not going to give you the explosive play. We're going to force you to play one more play, because at some point the offense is going to screw up. And they really control the game with those safeties in addition to that front.
Yeah, and we've talked about it too. The thing is, IUP, it's not like you guys it's a blowout game in either direction. It was a 19-10 loss last year. It was just by 9 points. And, you even, when we talked about after that game, you specified key moments where things could have been differently and stuff like that. When you look at the mentality of your team heading into this year's game on the road, we've talked about it. You guys want to get that win. There's a desire to take down IUPS, obviously start the year 1-0. How do you keep the nerves down, and how do you instill more of a calm but excited and poised mindset?
Well, you make the most important thing, which is this. At base, we're about ready to get back to the point where we're worried about Ashland. And I've challenged the team at this point, hey, we need to start the season well. We have not started the season playing well on all three sides of the ball the last 2 years. So let's take it as, we're preparing for IUP right now, yes, but at some point that's going to switch over here in the next couple days after our scrimmage. Let's look at Ashland. Let's evaluate both scrimmages. What do we need to do execution-wise to be better? Okay? Coaches are going to put us in the best situation they can as far as game plan-wise, offense, defense, and special teams, but we need to make sure we out-execute them. There's going to be no secrets to this football game. There's not. I mean, there's going to be things that we do that maybe they haven't prepared for that are nuanced and new. There's going to be some things that they're doing that's new, especially on the offensive side, we haven't prepared for. So we're going to have to adjust, and that's why the coaches get paid the money.
Yeah.
But at base, if you want to beat IUP, you got to beat them fundamentally, and you got to beat them with execution. That's there is no secrets, there's no smoke and mirrors in this game. So I think that more than anything else, taking the focus back on us and old John Wooden philosophy is key, and that takes all the pressure off.
And Coach Cordell, are there any young underclassmen that you're excited to see potentially get a chance? Obviously, we still have that scrimmage on Thursday to really determine things, but are there any young guys you could see out there?
Well, I think it's one of the things that we do have a lot of vets. We have a lot of vets. It'll be Ethan's third time playing IUP, so you talk about the nerves and some of those things. I mean, guys have been there. Now us as a staff going back second time. So but there will be guys their first time. Even playing college football for us. So, DJ Harvey's a guy for us on offense that is really explosive, heck of a playmaker. He's still got to earn the trust, but he definitely, I think he can help us this year.
It's awesome. And Coach Geiser, my final question for you in this segment is, one big topic last year was the next man up mentality. A lot of guys went down, and specifically, Ben Hilzoffel filled a huge role with Jack Talkington going down, and he's going to be back this year, and a bunch of other guys who can really contribute at that linebacker position. How do you guys instill that next man up mentality?
We preach it all the time. We talk about the expectations for the position. It's not for the person, and that's real. That's real because somebody goes down with an injury. Hey, nobody asks who, when, why. They just want to know the end result. So we challenge our guys. You got to prepare like you're a starter. If you're not a starter, prepare for that opportunity when it comes up. Okay, and it's just something we preach all the time. And it's kind of the expectation now, and you know, the older guys have bought into it. The young guys are learning that, and it's nothing really now that's revolutionary for them. That's just kind of the expectation for the program.
Well, to the both of you, thanks for sitting down this segment and talking Week 1 versus IUP.
Yep. Appreciate it.
And a reminder that game against IUP will come on Thursday, September 4th at 7 p.m. on the road in Indiana, PA. So make sure to get out there, travel out there to support the Eagles, especially as they look to kickstart the season with a 1-0 record. For now, we'll take a break. Join you back here soon for our final segment of the Year 3 premiere of the Doug Geiser Show right here on the Eagle Network.
Need a construction team that can do it all? Bo Lacey Construction delivers experience you can trust, done right on time, with free estimates and special financing offered for roofing, siding, gutters, windows, bathrooms, decks, to the highest standards of excellence, quality, and knowledge in the industry. Bring your next project to life with Bo Lacey Construction.
Welcome back to the Year 3 premiere of the Doug Geiser Show. We're in our final segment of today, but before we go, we want to talk about one specific thing, and that's, you know, the TV deal this year. Obviously, it's going to be an exciting year for AU football and the coverage that's going to come. We have Flow Sports coming in, who will provide a lot more help to the broadcasts across campus, not even just football, but with football as well. And then Rock Entertainment Sports Network will have a chance to get a broader audience out there to kind of witness AU football.
Yeah, we're excited about that. We've had a TV deal the last number of years. It started a handful of years ago with Valley Sports.
Yep.
And now it's RESN, Rock Entertainment, Dan Gilbert's station. And we're excited because not only can our fans in different pockets see us, but also recruits. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's a pocket up in Cleveland. There's also in Akron, which is going to stretch to western PA. Central Ohio down in Columbus, and also in Cincinnati, which is going to stretch into Kentucky and in Indiana. So, you know, it's broadening our reach, and you know, if you want to get a chance to watch AU football, all our home games on Rock Entertainment, I think they're going to show it up to two to six times every week after the home games.
And that's the exciting thing with RESN being so new. There's a number of opportunities for reruns and different ways to catch it. If you want to find out when those reruns will happen, we'll have those in the game program the week before the game, and then afterwards those will be updated each week with what times those will be coming out, when you can catch it, what day of the week. So you can always make sure you're fulfilling your AU football itch week in and week out. And if you're not able to attend as well, there's also a number of other ways to tune in. Fox Sports 1340 and 88.9 WRDL, two stations that cover our football program very, very highly. But yeah, you know, Coach, you know, a lot of different organizations in different platforms that have covered football over the year. How grateful are you to have just these different avenues?
Tremendous, and that's one of the neat things and the special things about, you know, coaching at Ashland University is a lot of people have a stake in investment. They want to know. I mean, I know from talking to alums, you know, they say the first thing they want to do Saturday mornings is, you know, they still want to open up the newspaper and see how the Ashland Eagles did. So now you can find out on social media, you can find out on the radio, you can find out on online and another venue on our website, newspaper, whatever. So just having different people and be able to get it out on different platforms for people to have a stake in Ashland football. That makes it pretty neat.
And I was about to say, too, we forgot to mention that the Collegian obviously covered you guys very highly, and even AUTV. And another thing, too, is you always come on the morning show for radio. Yourself and I did that for 2 years straight, and you'll be doing that again this year, correct?
Yep, that is correct. Yeah, Friday mornings at 7:30.
There you go. Bright and early on 7:30 in the morning on 88.9 WRDL. Well, any final thoughts and any final words to the fans before we go?
Well, hey, I know we're not going to be home for a home, until Hillsdale. I believe it's September 20th.
Yep.
Is our first game there, and so hang tight. Follow us. Follow us through Flow Sports or through Fox Sports as well on those away games, and we will be home. We got a big. The home opener is going to be the game for the traveling trophy, Hillsdale College. It'll be one of our highlights of every year. It's a game we always point to. So. A key for that game also, we are going to dedicate seats in the stadium for Fred and Ruth Martinelli. We're also going to recognize championship teams, I believe, from 1955, 60, 65, 80, and 85. And Coach Martinelli coached 3 of those teams.
Oh, wow.
So it'll be a great day of celebration for Ashland football and recognizing championship teams from years gone past, recognizing our Hall of Fame coach and his wife. And oh, by the way, you get a chance to play one of the best teams in the country in Hillsdale College. 100%. So I encourage you, come on out on September 20th, see the Eagles play live at their home opener.
And the other home games that the Eagles will have this season come on October 11th, and then there's another 2-game away spell. But the big thing that we've talked about as well, Coach, is November 1st, November 8th, and November 15th. 3 home games to finish the year, so those are big chances for guys to get out there, come rally, support the troops as you guys hopefully make a push to the playoffs. But as a reminder again for the Doug Geiser Show, it'll be back here every Monday, minus Labor Day, at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. We might have some shows that run a little bit longer if we got extra stuff to talk about, but live here at Buffalo Wild Wings. Make sure to tell your friends, tell the community, come out here and support the Eagle football team, and obviously join us too for that fun Q&A segment that we had. But before we go, another special thanks to the Ashland University Journalism and Digital Media Department, AUTV 88.9 WRDL, and the Collegian, Buffalo Wild Wings in Ashland, and the many Ashland University football sponsors for the 2025 season. You'll see a lot of the faces that represent those organizations come on the show here over the course of the next couple of weeks to spotlight their organizations and give a little bit deeper insight into what makes the Ashland community so special. And again, a big final thank you to all of you who came out here tonight and supported and joined us for the premiere of Year 3 of the Doug Geiser Show. I'm Cade Krakus.
I'm Doug Geiser.
Coach Geiser saying so long and thank you so much right here on the Eagle Network.